Welcome back. I am so excited to welcome Sue Perez, an Emmy Award winning makeup artist. She's also New York State licensed esthetician and author of the book Beneath the Makeup 12 Lessons to Empower and Inspire You. Now, Sue has done many other things. She's very, very busy and everyone wants a piece of her. She works for popular shows on HBO, Disney, CBS News, Broadway shows, and some others that you may know of. Welcome, Sue.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here.
Great to have you. Tell me one thing. Tell me about yourself. What got you into this medium?
Well, it's interesting. I was an art student and I started doing makeup because it felt very natural to me as an artist. And so makeup was like the brushes and the colors. And I started in high school, and then I went into college and I studied advertising and media, but makeup was always a passion of mine. So ultimately, my goal was to work professionally in television and film.
Very good. That's amazing. And so you became an esthetician?
Yes.
And how has that guided you to where you are today?
That's a really great question. I didn't get my license in aesthetics until 2010, after working for so many years as a makeup artist. And somebody had told me, actually, they had said, Sue, if you want to grow your business, you should get your license. And I just never saw myself squeezing pimples as a makeup artist. But actually, the education behind skincare became like the perfect marriage with beauty, because then I could really understand in depth what the skin was about, how to take care of it, how to heal it. And it gave me another really keen insight about the skin and beauty as a whole. So I'm really proud of myself for doing that.
Awesome. Now I see you wrote the book Beneath the Makeup 12 Lessons to Empower and Inspire. How long did it take you to write the book, and where did the inspiration come from for this book?
The inspiration for the book came from people, like everybody I'd meet. As soon as they learned that I did makeup, a lot of women, and I'm talking about women in tertiary roles, not just like celebrities or TV talent or correspondents, but like I'd be at the bank and the bank teller would feel very effacing, where she'd go, oh, I look terrible, I'm not wearing any makeup. And people that you see in everyday society, and they just felt very self-conscious. And I just felt that beauty should be something every woman could do without feeling like it took a lot of time and without using a lot of products. So I wanted the book to really educate from the perspective of a professional, but also really helping women to become empowered by their own beauty, to first of all discover it, understand what skincare is about very easily without being complicated.
I want to interrupt you.
Sure.
What is beauty?
Beauty is, I feel, it's belief in yourself, confidence, waking up each day with a renewed sense of purpose, contributing what your gifts are to the world, and making an impact on those people in your own life and within your kula. I say the word kula from yoga, which is like community, the people that we surround ourselves with and how we can impact them. I think that's beauty. That's really utilizing your own self-worth. That's what beauty means for me.
Right. I'm a guy. Do you feel that men should start incorporating makeup in their daily routine or in their life, at work, out to parties, so forth?
I think that fortunately there's a lot of products today that speak to men and also look very natural. Men don't have to be afraid of a little under eye concealer. There's a lot of very progressive, like medical grade makeup items now too that address dark circles and hyperpigmentation. And yes, men are people who want to look their best and polish themselves and have vanity and self-confidence. Why shouldn't they think about using products if it's going to adjust or enhance the way that they look?
Absolutely. I'm so excited to have you here today, and we'll get this information later, but just tell me briefly, how can we find you?
People can find me at my website, Beautyphonics. They can find me on Instagram at Beautyphonics. I'm basically across on Facebook.
Beautyphonics.com.
Yes, Beautyphonics, and phonics is spelled Phonics, like education, which is why I created the company name.
Very good. So as you know, I'm also in beauty. I discuss everything beauty, from Botox to fillers. There's a lot of innovation today into what is new and what we're leaving out of beauty, what is too much. And I kind of want to get your perspective on on some of the fears that individuals have when you're having some, let's say, Botox treatments. What are you hearing from some individuals?
Well, that's a great question because I'm in the makeup room and I hear the conversation and see firsthand what women are feeling and what the fears are around getting Botox injections or, lip fillers. And there's a lot of beauty myths, I think, around that. I think the number one myth is like, that it's not safe. There's a lot of women that feel like it's going to change their structure. It's not going to, like, they're not going to be able to make it go back to what it was. There's a lot of fears around, I think the self aspect, like how we feel about ourselves, admitting that we need to take that step. And then I've also seen women that happily get Botox and do things to like rejuvenate themselves.
I'll tell you, when I watch the news, I see a lot of newscasters and so forth, and I'm always saying, I think she needs a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and I think it can go such a long way. So I feel that on television, anyone who's on television on a daily basis, I feel they can go a long way with a little touch here and there to remove some of the negative imagery or some of the things that you may have to work a lot on with your makeup for them. And if they're already doing makeup, it means they kind of want to show the best forward. Why is it that many newscasters today, anchors and so forth, are still afraid of a little Botox?
That's a really great question. I don't understand why anybody who's on camera would not want to investigate or get a consultation and find out what's possible for them. When I'm confronted in the makeup room with somebody that I've done makeup for them and, they're looking at themselves in the mirror and sometimes they're harsher on themselves than they need to be. There's a critique that always happens as women. I think that we look in the mirror and we dissect how we look, but specifically women on television can be really hard on themselves. And I've heard them say things like, I just feel like right around my mouth there's these lines, and with foundation, like there's things we do with color and pigment, but around the eyes specifically, there's only so much I can do. If there's a loss of fat around the eye, no amount of concealer is going to fill that up. We're not going to add volume.
That's where fillers come in.
Right.
Because no concealer can take that groove or that circle out unless it's only discoloration. But many times it's the hollowness from the loss of fat that creates a trench or a deficit under the eyes. And a little bit of filler just brings that right back into the open. You shave about 10 years off of the face and you look amazing.
Well, that brings me to another myth, which is that they're afraid of looking frozen. And some of the conversation has been, I don't want fillers in my face. I don't want to look puffy. I don't want to look frozen. I don't want to not be able to move my eyebrows. So there's belief that they're not going to look natural.
Right. On prior episodes, I've spoken about this many times, that results depend on the person injecting you. Results depend upon what that person hears in you and understanding you. And it all has to do with the technique and choosing the right product. So as you say, there are a lot of myths when it comes to looking frozen. We can do Botox so many different ways. I can make you look frozen. I can make you look as though you've never had anything done. Or I can bring you anywhere in the middle. So past years, we couldn't do that. We didn't understand. Now we know that. Now we understand this. When it comes to your work as a makeup artist, what is most challenging with some of your high-profile clients?
Oh, man. Thankfully, I can say I work with so many wonderful people who are professional. I don't really look at any situation as a challenge anymore, even if I encounter something that most people would think is overwhelming. I'll give you an example. Most recently we had, I'll just say celebrity talent who was running 50 minutes late. So we needed to get her on camera for a hit in 30 minutes and she wasn't even in the building. And so she has to come through hair and makeup and COVID testing. So there's a delay and I had like 7 minutes to get her done while she got her hair done. So we'll encounter those kinds of challenges, but I've develop myself as a professional to the level where I can prepare myself for that. And if that meant loading my brushes and putting eyelash adhesive on
Just
lashes,
getting
I
everything ready.
basically set it up, and I understand what needs to happen in a certain way. I have a method that I use, but I think when it comes to personalities, like I'll always get that question, like who's not a nice person, or who's the worst person you've encountered. And I just feel like it doesn't even matter, because I know they have to get on camera and they're going to be out of my chair by a certain amount of time. So I never take it personally. What happens in somebody's life and what they're going through when they land in my chair has nothing to do with me.
Right, absolutely. And it's the same as in my office, what happens outside of my door is different than what happens inside of my
Exactly.
treatment office.
Right.
When I walk into that treatment office and I approach you, it's a completely different scenario, regardless of what happened outside, regardless of what brought you here or not. My emphasis is in where can I take you from this point? Can I help you achieve your goal, your dream, which is to look a particular way. So I love that. Now, we've taken a step toward Botox and fillers. There's a lot of judgment around when someone has a treatment done. So some of the top things that Botox can address is lines and wrinkles. But what do you find mostly that people are feeling after they have Botox done and it looks good? What are they feeling? What are they telling you?
I haven't really heard anybody specifically remark about themselves having an injectable, except maybe if they were sore, and I haven't seen that in a long time. I think
Right.
I had one experience where talent came in with visible bruising around her mouth because she had lip injections, like lip fillers. When people have had like reconstructive surgery, like a nose job, I've seen them come in bruised, or blepharoplasty to the eyelids, where I've seen scars from that, and maybe they haven't fully healed. There's a lot of confidentiality in my line of work where I don't ask questions, and I don't, if they volunteer information, that's great, but like I just do my job, and my job is really to make them look great on camera.
So in your personal life also, or let's just say not with TV personalities, what are they asking you before they do anything? Whether it's the lips or Botox or threads, before they do anything, you're the makeup artist, you're there.
Well, they'll ask me questions like, do you think I should do this, or do you think I should do that? What do you think? They'll ask my opinion.
Right.
And I'm not an expert like you when it comes to that kind of work, but I definitely will say, get a consultation, go see what's possible, go have, find out what you can do. I mean, each person's unique in their own way. I can't say everyone should do this or that. It's completely,
At
unique.
what point in your chair you would recommend, I feel that a little aesthetic treatment, Botox or what's not, would go a long way in you achieving your goal with them? At what point do you say, girl, you need a little Botox?
I wish I could say that more often, but I can't actually say it because I want to keep my job. I never want to offend anybody. You
Right.
never know how that's going to land. You have to be careful. So I did have one person that I'm closer to. She knows me. She trusts me. She likes me very much. So I feel that there's she feels comfortable with me. And she said something to me, and I said, genetics, this is reality. Our face is going to change with time. And I personally will share what I've done for myself because I can share my own experience. Right. And I think that by sharing my experience is within my right, and it's up to me. And I think that helps the conversation. But I would never tell somebody, go get this done today. I mean, it's very, I think, obnoxious to do that. But I will share my own experience, and I will suggest, and tell them the truth. I mean, as an esthetician, I can speak to aging, and I can speak to
Absolutely.
how
Listen,
the face changes.
we're in the beauty field, and I'll tell you, when I started almost 20 years ago, I had individuals in my chair, even today, individuals in my chair. Sometimes I may feel apprehensive as to what I tell them they should have done. Yes, they come to me for this, they ask these questions, but also I want to be frank with them. And if I can't be frank with them, then I cannot address the real reason they're here to see me. So I am a lot more bold when it comes to me telling them, you need some Botox here, you need some fillers there. Yes, they come to me for that, but also I'm the beauty expert they're coming to. And I want them to know that you're coming to me in confidence, number one. You're coming to me as a professional, and here's what you need to know?
I would suggest to someone in my chair if I thought they could use microblading, if they could, beauty like lash extensions, and I'll talk about that sometimes because there's a lot of misconceptions around that, and we've seen a lot of negative things happen around that as well. But like I'll talk about the effect and the benefit. As far as what's in my beauty arsenal, I'll address it. But again, like when it comes to anything invasive or less invasive, or I would recommend. And people, if they ask me, can you recommend someone like a hairstylist, or do you know anybody who does lip injections? Obviously I know who I can recommend them to, right?
Right. Absolutely. I find that we live in an age where, yes, there's judgment, but there have always been judgment. 200 years ago, we were using pig's fat, we were using colored dyes and from parts of the animal or plants to give us
Insects.
Insects to give us rosy cheeks and
Right.
so forth. We've done a lot of different things. We've always been judgmental. We live in a society based upon sight. What do we see? It's the only thing we have. We have the power of sight, and we use the saints to judge who we are speaking to. We have to. That's how we survive as mankind. We have to use our sight. And so when you're speaking to someone based upon the image coming back to you, you're responding to that person. For example, if someone is, say, 70 years old and they approach you outside and they start to talk to you, you become empathetic. This could be my grandparent, this person is old. Now, if someone is 21 or 19 and they approach you with the same question, you're answering it different because of your visual cue from this individual. That's leading me to another point. And that point is, as we get older, we tend to feel that we're not as visible as we used to be, or we don't have as much caress in the room as we used to be. And I would argue that most of this is due to what we are giving the public, what we are showing people. For example, if there's a beautiful pair of glasses or highlights that you like or clothing that you like and you wear that, you get more responses. You get more positive input from that. So as a makeup artist, I love the fact that you are integral in getting people to the next step. You have a chapter here that talks about empowering people to be their own makeup artists.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about that.
I just, like I said, initially, so many people, when they learned that I was a makeup professional, just felt really negative, like they would apologize to me. Like, I'm so sorry, I'm not wearing any makeup today. Or they would just say, I have everything and I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to use it. And I really wanted women to feel like they didn't need to hire a glam squad. They didn't need to, spend so much money on cosmetics and really expensive skincare and products. I wanted women to be able to shop in the drugstore. I have a list in the book of like my over-the-counter best that I recommend that are all cruelty-free and stuff like that, because it should be something available for everyone. There's a lot of young women that are, when you look at social media and you see what's happening there with contouring, and these young women are pressured to maintain a certain image, and financially what that means for them to go into like a Sephora and shop for these expensive skincare and beauty items. And I wanted them to feel empowered, like you don't need to do that. You can work with very, lower end products and achieve the same results. I wanted them to feel like they could accomplish this for themselves, even if that was just a little bit of makeup, what that meant, and that process without having to invest a lot of time or money.
And the priorities as well.
Yep.
I'll tell you, there's some individuals that spend so much more, 2, 3, 4 times more on makeup than what Botox cost. Am I right? Especially a very good lipstick is what, I don't know, is it 20, 30, 40, 50
It can be, you can get a lipstick for $35 for sure.
So you times this by 10 different shades of colors, you're already at $350 to $500.
I mean, my niece is 15 and she lives in Hawaii, and she literally was texting me, Auntie, I like this Dior lipstick. It's like a lip balm. And she said, we sold out of it here on the island. Can you find it over there? And I went online and I each tube was like $35 or
There you go.
$40.
Yeah.
And I was prepared to buy like all of them for her,
Yes,
right? Like if she
yes.
wants them, I'll just get them. But then when I saw the price point, I text her back like, which one do you want? Like, because there's so many.
Yes.
And she doesn't even know because they weren't available. But like she's 15 years old and wants a lip balm, and that's
Right.
the price point on something
Right.
like
That's
that
the price
she
point.
likes. Yeah,
Yes.
like, and it's a designer brand, obviously. It's a
right.
higher end,
Right.
but
Do you believe that if your quote unquote Botox or fillers are done a certain way, you can reduce the amount of makeup you have to buy to cover or to conceal or to glam yourself up? I think overall, I believe that it kind of saves people money if they can get the best possible advice from a makeup artist and how they can shave off some of those expenses when they go to the drugstore or Sephora or so forth for the makeup.
I don't know about saving makeup items per se, because makeup is a superficial item versus a treatment that you're injecting into the skin. I think that the function of those things are different.
But if you have
But-
more lines and more hollowness,
But I would
you need
say
more
if
makeup.
you can do an eyebrow lift, if you
Mhm.
can do like a PDO thread lift
Mhm.
to the face
Mhm.
and give yourself more cheekbone structure, if you
Mhm.
can do lip injections and fillers, you know, there's things you can do with like tattoo now, tattoo eyeliner, tattoo eyebrow.
Mhm.
You know, like microblading, which is much more natural looking and more beautiful around the eyes, obviously, than the old fashioned tattoo. Because
Right.
again, we've come so far within a decade in terms of beauty, like procedures. I think you could use less products. I know that women want to get away with not wearing any makeup, but I think the idea behind not wanting to wear makeup is an issue, because why not? Why not wear a foundation? You know, I've worn foundation since I'm 17 years old, and my skin looks younger now at 51 because I've always worn it. I believe that wearing a foundation is a primer. You know, it has sunscreen. It's going to protect your skin from the environment. You know, so there's a lot of benefits to makeup.
Absolutely. And that proves the point 100%. You know, doing things in moderation. For example, I had a friend once that every couple of weeks she's buying lipstick, she's buying makeup, which is fine. But
Have you seen the price of shoes?
it's costly.
It's
even
less
shoes-
expensive to buy makeup than shoes, you know.
But it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So with the priority, I feel if someone can incorporate PDO threads for a much sharper cheek, or even fillers for much sharper jawline, the nose, even the lips, there's less tendency to have a huge collection of so much makeup products to make themselves look the way they want to present themselves.
Well, I'll agree
as.
with you around the PDO threads, because I know when you do that, it's like a liquid facelift, right? So if somebody had jowls in their face and their expression, or what you say here, these lines of demarcation that
yes.
women get over a certain age, and not even over a certain age, women in their 30s can have that. Sometimes it's just, you know, genetic that they start to show that, right? So a PDO lift will eliminate that and therefore enhance the cheekbone, and you won't need to maybe contour as much. So to your point, I would agree that that's possible.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So before we wrap things up, what is the one message you want for your viewers, individuals who are going to read the book and then can say, well, you know what? I love what I read on this book. What is that message you have for them? You're speaking to them. They're like, okay, what's the last thing you need to tell me? I need to understand.
That, you know, I would say you should invest in yourself before you invest in anything else. You're worth it. You should definitely love who you look at in the mirror. You should embrace that. And whatever that is, whether that's aging gracefully or aging naturally with some help, whatever that route is, please do it. You're worth it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Sue.
Yeah, my pleasure.
That was Sue Perez, award-winning makeup artist. And I love the points and the details that Sue has. It's very, very important to understand that prioritizing your investment in yourself is very, very important when it comes to Botox and fillers, when it comes to makeup. All of these are just tools we're using to create the best presentation of ourselves. So thank you so very much for being with us
My
today.
pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so very much for being our wonderful viewers. Please do not forget to subscribe.